Dear children, welcome to the fourth and last podcast on Civics Chapter 10 Law and Social Justice. In this podcast, we would discuss the topic New Laws to Protect the Environment. In 1984, there were very few laws protecting the environment in India, and there was hardly any enforcement of these laws. The environment was treated as a free entity, and any industry could pollute the air and water without any restrictions. Whether it was our rivers, air, groundwater, the environment was being polluted and the health of people disregarded. Thus, not only was UC a beneficiary of lower safety standards, it didn't have to spend any money to clean up the pollution. In the USA, this is a necessary part of the production process. The Bhopal disaster brought the issue of environment to the forefront. Several thousands of persons who were not associated with the factory in any way were greatly affected because of the poisonous gases leaked from the plant. This made people realize that the existing laws, though weak, only covered the individual worker and not persons who might be injured due to industrial accidents. In response to this pressure from environmental activists and others, in the years following the Bhopal gas tragedy, the Indian government introduced new laws on the environment. Henceforth, the polluter was to be held accountable for the damage done to environment. The environment is something that people over generations will share, and it could not be destroyed merely for industrial development. The courts also gave a number of judgments upholding the right to a healthy environment as intrinsic to the fundamental right to life. In Subhash Kumar versus State of Bihar, 1991, the Supreme Court held that the right to life is a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution, and it includes the right to the enjoyment of pollution-free water and air for full enjoyment of life. The government is responsible for setting up laws and procedures that can check pollution, clean rivers, and introduce heavy fines for those who pollute. Thus, we can conclude by saying laws are necessary in many situations, whether this be the market, office, or factory, so as to protect people from unfair practices. Private companies, contractors, business persons, in order to make higher profits, resort to unfair practices such as paying workers low wages, employing children for work, ignoring the conditions of work, ignoring the damage to the environment, and hence to the people in the neighborhood, etc. A major role of the government, therefore, is to control the activities of private companies by making, enforcing, and upholding laws so as to prevent unfair practices and ensure social justice. This means that the government has to make appropriate laws and also to enforce the laws. Laws that are weak and poorly enforced can cause serious harm, as the Bhopal gas tragedy showed. While the government has a leading role in this respect, people can exert pressure so that both private companies and the government act in the interests of society. Environment, as we saw, is one example where people have pushed a public cause and the courts have upheld the right to healthy environment as intrinsic to the right to life. In this chapter, we have argued that people now must demand that this facility of healthy environment be extended to all. Likewise, workers' rights is an area where the situation is still very unfair. People must demand stronger laws protecting workers' interests so that the right to life is achieved for all. Thank you.